First of all, thank you everyone for taking time out of your holiday weekend to join us, and what a great place.
I've known Kate since the day she was born, Preston since he was in 9th grade, and truly counted a privilege to be here with them today. Their relationships with God have led them to each other, and it's created in their hearts such love and devotion for one another that they now believe it to be God's design for their lives, that they live as husband and wife.
Hey, you look so pretty. I'm gonna cry.
I'm probably gonna cry too.
Oh no, I'm not gonna do it. Oh, I'm trying not to, but it's really hard.
It wasn't like a point where I really liked Kate more, because I always liked her. But the first time it like seriously kind of came to mind was when I was at my parents' house in North Carolina, and my mom like brought it up. She was like, "Okay, what's your plan for this?" And I was like, "I don't know that I have a plan for this." And I was about to start senior year of college, and I was like, "Wow, okay, I need to gear up." So that was kind of the point where it started to feel like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this. It was going into senior year.
When our kids were very young, Kirsty and I started praying fervently for their future spouses, and we do it almost every day, probably every day. And it was very specific. We prayed that they be raised in a godly home by a godly family, and to become godly young men and a godly young woman. And it's fun when that prayer is answered, and it got answered 9 years ago with Dakota. And God's answered that prayer again with Preston. You're such a godly man and such an answer to prayer for our family. And we love you so much, and happy to call you our son.
Who gives Kate today to be married to Preston?
Her mother and I do.
I feel like the big changes in the relationship, which aren't like, they weren't like the day of changes, it's just changes in maturity. I mean, we met each other almost 10 years ago. So there's a lot of just growing up, and we've done that together. I think the past few years of college have been the most intentional, and it's probably my favorite so far. As far as our relationship actually goes, it's just gotten better as we've gotten older.
Hi, Preston.
Hi, Kate.
In the presence of God and these witnesses,
In the presence of God and these witnesses,
and by holy covenant,
And by holy covenant,
joyfully and thankfully receive you, Kate,
joyfully and thankfully receive you, Kate,
as God's gift for me.
as God's gift for me.
Preston, you may kiss your bride. It is my privilege to announce to you for the very first time Mr. and Mrs. Preston Hall.